Day number 7, just left Broad Cove. I'm heading north towards Meat Cove Road. Ran into a cyclist yesterday who said that it was spectacular up there, although it's a little hard to imagine that it's much nicer than what it is here. Just stunning scenery. I'm on Meat Cove Road. It's beautiful. Northern end of Nova Scotia. A little off the beaten path here, but the pavement ends. I've got 7.1 kilometers to go to Meat Cove. The motorcyclist that I met that recommended this trip said that the dirt road was washboard. It sure is. Road's in, at least it's dry and seems like it has pretty good traction, but the bouncing around is hard on the equipment. Yeah, that's pretty spectacular. They have paved some of the tougher gradients. It's quite the view. This would have been a great spot to camp. So that was Meat Cove. Now I'm going to work my way out of here and go to, I think it's called Cabot Beach, where Cabot made a landing many hundreds of years ago. That is gorgeous. This is supposed to be where John Cabot in 1497 was the first European to discover the North American continent. This is the coastal loop of the Cabot Trail. One pretty vista after another. That guy's got a great house, huh? Jeez. Yeah. Little coastal town. Stopped at Black River picnic area. Can hear the water back there. What a great ride. What a great park. What great weather. What a great trip. Enough said. Wow. That is an amazing view. Crazy S-turns. 12% grade. Down towards the water. I am on Route 312 headed south. Still about 45 minutes to go to my campground. And I think I've got a ferry ride that's coming up here pretty soon. In fact, very soon. Looks like this spit of land doesn't go all the way across. Must be a pretty short ferry ride. The ferry ride saves going all the way around that body of water. Same as the last one. Let's see where she wants me. This ferry is the Torquil McLean, built in 2007. Looks like it was built in Nova Scotia. And we are off. It's going to be a very quick trip. And that is the ride. Third ferry ride this trip. Thank you. Kokomo Provincial Park is where I am staying tonight, hopefully. Good morning. 9:40 in the morning. I'm leaving camp, headed to the museum for Alexander Graham Bell, which is just north of here. And then if there's enough time before I have to catch my ferry, I am going over to see where Marconi did his transmission to Europe, which is the National Historic Site here in Canada. So it's a very pleasant day. Day number 8 is beginning. It's a very nice museum, and I learned a lot about Alexander Graham Bell and his wife. So now I'm headed to where Marconi did his transmission many years ago, and looks like it's going to take me about an hour and a half. My ferry has been delayed, so now I don't board until after 5 o'clock, and I think it leaves somewhere around 10:30. So it's going to be a long day, which means I won't get into Newfoundland until sometime tomorrow afternoon. I bought this motorcycle 18 months ago and have done a fair amount of travel on it. I am approaching, according to the odometer on the bike, 30,000 miles. It's been a great bike. I've said that many times before, but it still is a champ. Never let me down. So there we are, 30,000 miles on the 2020 Suzuki V-Strom 650. 30,000 miles in 18 months. What a place to celebrate that. And then North Sydney heading southwest. Tiny little bridge. It's a little after 2 in the afternoon. And I am approaching the Marconi National Historic Site, finally. Been stopping on the way. I blew a 3-amp fuse this morning trying to inflate my tires with my tire inflator. Instead of running it through the 7.5 amp plug that I installed under the seat, I tried the dash without thinking about it. Blew the 3-amp fuse. So I did have a spare, but I'm trying to get the backup for the one that's now the spare. Unsuccessfully. So here is the site. The concrete foundations are all that remain from the antennas that sent the December 15th, 1902 messages wirelessly over the Atlantic to Europe. This is the base of a 64 meter high, 64 meter square aerial, 400 copper wires that were used, along with a 75 kilowatt alternator to generate the power to send a signal over to Europe. This is the National Park building that's unfortunately closed. I'm on Seaview Drive. Within 10 minutes of the ferry. I could see it off in the distance. The ferry was delayed. It's supposed to leave at 5:30. Now it's going to leave at 10:30 tonight. But they're still allowing boarding, or asking for boarding at 5 o'clock. 5.5 hours before departure. I'm not sure why. On the original ferry departure at 5:30, they were boarding at 3:30. 4:20 right now, so it's still going to be early for the early boarding. I fill up with fuel before I get there. North Sydney, where the ferry leaves out of. Good morning. It is Thursday morning. The ferry left early this morning at like 12 minutes after midnight. I slept in a seat last night that's kind of like an economy airline seat. It was okay for a few hours. I had a quick breakfast this morning, and because we left so late, I probably won't get in until about 4 o'clock this afternoon. So the seas are smooth. The weather looks like it's nice outside. And it's just a matter of waiting it out.
require the shuttle bus to the terminal, we'll have an additional wait upon arrival.
I am in Newfoundland. And I've got about an hour, almost 2 hours to ride to my camp, provincial park to the southwest of St. John's. Didn't get too much sleep last night, but I got enough where I feel okay. Really looking forward to this province. Just ran across a couple guys, or actually there's 4 or 5 of them, most of whom were riding V-Stroms, which is kind of cool, at the visitor center. They're all locals to Newfoundland, but it's a pleasant conversation. Absolutely gorgeous day here. I have so lucked out with the weather. GPS is going to put me on Route 1, the Trans-Canada Highway. That ferry ride was a little more than I wanted. I got there a little before 5 o'clock, and I did lose a half an hour because of Newfoundland's half-hour time difference from Nova Scotia. But I got in somewhere around 3:30, so it wasn't quite 24 hours, but it was a long delay and then a long ferry ride, and the combination of the two give up almost 24 hours of time. But the benefit being that I only have to go in one direction, basically to the western side of the island, where I can pick up the shorter ferry to get back to Nova Scotia and then on to Prince Edward Island. I am heading north. At some point I'm going to start swinging around the corner here, turning east and then southeast. Still have 76 kilometers to go, and I programmed in a grocery store on the way to the campground so I can bring some food back. Now I'm on Route 73. Past this guy. Very pretty. It's a tad bit chilly. It's 63 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's supposed to drop into the upper 40s tonight. I think it could be the coldest day on the trip. It's supposed to warm up a little bit over the next few days. Well, that was pretty gnarly back there. That was beyond my capabilities.
Wait, let me back up to explain and provide context to what transpires next. My destination was the Butterpot Provincial Park, but it was late in the day. I was pretty tired from my overnight ferry ride, and I was rapidly running out of daylight. As polar explorer Raoul Amundsen observed, adventure is just bad planning. I really like that statement. My Garmin GPS indicated 2 waypoints for Butterpot. I programmed the first, which was located just off the Trans-Canada Highway number 1. But when I reached the waypoint, perhaps due to tiredness, I'm not really sure, I did not see the entrance. So I bypassed the first waypoint and selected the second, which was located at the far side of the park, about 30-35 minutes right away. Unbeknownst to me, the route to the second waypoint took me on a hazardous, unpaved dual-track road up a very difficult incline full of large rocks, water hazards, and sand. The track became more difficult as I progressed, but by the time I realized I was over my head from a motorcycle standpoint, turning around on the slope, which was a very narrow track at that point, with a fully loaded bike seemed more hazardous than just continuing. Fortunately, I reached a level spot on the road, so I parked my motorcycle to get off and scout the trail ahead. Also, I called my wife for assistance so that she could track me using my satellite transceiver. She sent me a satellite view of my location, which showed the dual track turning into a gravel road approximately 1.5 kilometers ahead. To my great fortune, aside from my wife sending me that information, 2 Canadians on mountain bicycles happened by. They were local citizens. They were familiar with the terrain, and they encouraged me to continue, actually telling me that I had passed the worst part of the road already. So these guys and my wife gave me just the boost of confidence I needed late in the day to continue. I am not an experienced off-road motorcyclist, but my V-Strom is much more capable than I am, and it carried me over the remaining track back to a gravel road. What a ride it was, what a ride. And unfortunately, none of it was captured on video. I mean, when I get into these pickles, taking videos really is the last thing on my mind. So with that background, my journey continues with my newfound Canadian friends graciously waiting for me at the gate at the back of the park.
Yeah, that was a lot gnarlier than I wanted. Certainly after the end of a long day and unlimited sleep. This road at least is smooth gravel. Hey, I really appreciate you guys. You guys gave me the confidence I needed to get through it. So without you, I was talking to my wife on the phone because I wasn't sure how much further I had to go. Without you guys and your encouragement, I never would have made it. Because I'm not a technical rider. I mean, I ride gravel. This stuff's fine, but going up that other hill with the big rocks and stuff, yeah, it's. Well, I'm heading I just came in on the ferry this evening, so I'm going to head west. I'm going to go to St. John's tomorrow and then head west over to the national park.
Oh, okay.
So
what brought you through this road?
Well, the GPS sent me this direction. So the first one, there were two GPSs. One took me off the Trans-Canada Highway, and I didn't see an entrance to get into the park. Apparently there is one now that...
That's the one that everybody uses, the Bar Road? Yeah.
Okay.
I knew when I seen you near, you were talking to somebody, I said Google or whatever must have brought you this way.
Yeah.
Is that to other people before too?
Okay. Yeah, it's Garmin that did it. But Garmin had both of them in there. And the first one, it's like, oh, I don't even see a sign for it. And then this other one, I ran into a fellow and I said, is the park this way? He said, yeah, you can drive right up to it. So I started going up that hill. And then I was committed because there's no way I can turn the bike around on the hill with this kind of weight on it. So, but you guys saved the day, so I appreciate it. Where's the campground? Do you know? Is the campground straight ahead?
This is the last section of it.
Okay.
Which side do you?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to pull up onto the pavement and take a look at the.
I don't know if you got to check in. Check in is just straight on, right?
Oh, is that right? Okay. I'll go on down there then and take a look at it. All right, guys. Hey, thanks. I appreciate the gate too. Hey, thanks again, guys. You have a good one. $166. All right.